have some more breaking news coming in. This on the horrific rape and murder in Kathua. The Kathua trial is set to be transferred to Pathankot. We have Nalini Sharma joining us with the latest on the phone line. Nalini.
Yes, well, Krishna, the trial in the Kathua gang rape as well as murder has now been transferred out of Kathua. It's been transferred to the District and Sessions Judge in Pathankot. There's an order coming in from the Supreme Court of India after a plea was filed seeking that there is going to be no fair trial within Kathua. That's why the trial needs to be shifted out, and that's exactly what the Chief Justice has said today. He said that to ensure a fair trial, they are going to now shift the trial out of Jammu and Kashmir. It is now going to be held in Pathankot in the District and Sessions Judge, with the District and Sessions Judge at Pathankot. And the Supreme Court has also gone on to say that it is the duty of the state of Jammu and Kashmir to provide adequate protection not only to the victim's family and the accused who are under custody in the present case, but also to ensure that all of the witnesses in the case, not only are they given protection, but they also depose before the court in a fearless manner. So this is a responsibility of the state of Jammu and Kashmir to do so, to award protection and to ensure that a fair trial in the entire investigation takes place. At the same time, the Supreme Court has clearly come out and said that considering that the investigation of the crime branch is still underway, they're choosing not to delve into the aspect of whether or not the investigation should be transferred to the CBI or not, because they're waiting for the supplementary charge sheet to be filed by the crime branch itself. So that is one aspect that the Supreme Court has not gone into. They've clearly come out and said that the trial stands transferred and that it is the responsibility of the state government to ensure adequate protection is provided.
Right. And Nalini, also the Supreme Court, apart from the fair trial point, is also ordered for a speedy trial for the case as well.
Absolutely, Krishna. The Chief Justice has clearly come out and said that one of the basic principles of ensuring a fair trial is the fact that justice is met at the earliest, and for this very same reason, he has gone on to say that this will be a speedy trial that will now take place in Pathankot, where no adjournments are going to be granted by the District and Sessions Judge to any of the parties who are seeking adjournments. And at the same time, they've also asked the state of Jammu and Kashmir to ensure that all of the witnesses in this case actually come up before the District and Sessions Court of Pathankot and depose their statements and give their statements in a fearless manner.
Nalini Sharma, they're joining us with the latest breaking news update on the Kathua trial. It is set to be transferred to the District and Session Judge in Pathankot. The Supreme Court ordering a speedy trial and a fair trial for the case. And Nalini, many would view this development as something that moves the case closer to a fair trial, because the case had all possibilities of being impacted if it took place in Jammu.
Absolutely, Krishna. In fact, that is the same line of thought that the Chief Justice of India seems to have followed over here, because what we have seen, the lawyer for the accused in the present case, which was Ms. Indira Jaisingh, who was arguing the case on behalf of the victim, I beg your pardon, not the accused. The lawyer who was arguing on behalf of the victim has clearly stated that they are in fact convinced with the investigation so far. They don't want a CBI probe in the case, and they are happy with the crime branch investigation. They just want to make sure that the trial goes on in a fair manner, and for that very same reason, they've asked the trial to be transferred out of Kathua, stating that the witnesses have a tendency to in fact be influenced or be influenced in this particular case. So keeping that in mind, the Chief Justice of India has gone ahead and ordered that in fact the trial will now be transferred out of Kathua and will now take place in Pathankot.
And Nalini, as far as the CBI probe is concerned, the court hasn't outrightly said so. In fact, they've only said that the crime branch investigation is still underway, and that they're not getting into the question of a CBI probe as of now.
Absolutely, Krishna. In fact, this was an argument that was being made by the lawyer for the accused in the present case, who is seeking a CBI probe in the current case. But what the Chief Justice of India clearly came out and stated is that because the crime branch investigation is still underway and they're still waiting for the supplementary charge sheet to be filed by the crime branch, so he does not want any aspersions cast on the investigation just yet. It's a question that has not been decided in finality by the Supreme Court. The question is still open, but the Supreme Court has clearly till now not outrightly accepted or rejected the demand for a CBI probe. They said they're waiting for the crime branch to actually complete the investigation, which is still underway, for them to actually go ahead and file the supplementary charge sheet. And only after that will they probably be deciding on this aspect on whether or not there was any botch up in the investigation, because that's exactly what the lawyer for the accused was claiming, that the investigation has been botched up because of the kind of people that were involved, and that there were 3 different teams of the crime branch that actually looked into this investigation. At that very point, the Chief Justice of India stopped this particular lawyer, clearly stated that he is not hearing any aspersions on the investigation yet, only and only because it is still not completed, it's still not underway, only after the second supplementary charge sheet has been filed. And once the investigation has reached its conclusion, will they decide on exactly what the status and the merit of this investigation really was, and whether or not there needs to be a fresh investigation by the CBI, or whether the investigation by the crime branch is in fact sufficient in this present case.
Nalini Sharma, they're joining us live from the Supreme Court with the latest on the Kathua trial. And now it's time for me to hand it over to my colleague Sakal Bhatt, who joins us live from our New Delhi studios. Sakal, over to you.
Thank you, Krishna. Let's continue talking to Nalini. Nalini, a little bit more as to how crucial are today's observations made by the court in terms of this finally going to CBI. I mean, we understand that they haven't specifically mentioned whether it will go to CBI or not, but how do you see this panning out from here?
Well, it's very interesting, Sakal, because what the Supreme Court has clearly said, and not just today, even in the hearings that happened before, the Supreme Court has clearly said that right now all they are focused on is on whether or not there needs to be a fair investigation in the present case. That's exactly what the Chief Justice was focusing on even on the last hearing, where we've seen multiple lawyers actually approach before the Chief Justice trying to place their arguments. There have been multiple PILs that have been filed in this particular case, but the CJI has maintained only one thing from the beginning, that his prerogative right now is to ensure a fair trial, and keeping that and only that in mind, he has gone ahead and decided that the case needs to be transferred out of Kathua, not because of the kind of influence of the accused in the present case or any influence that they might be facing, but rather to make sure that all of the witnesses in this particular case are not influenced by anybody, that all of the witnesses are able to in fact fearlessly depose before an unbiased courtroom, before an unbiased judge. And for that very same reason, they have transferred the trial out of Jammu and Kashmir. They've clearly stated that the trial will now happen in Pathankot only with the sense of ensuring a fair trial in this case, which is also why they've gone ahead and clearly stated that there will be absolutely no adjournments granted, because one of the major principles of having a fair trial is in fact having a speedy trial and ensuring that justice is meted out at the earliest to all of the victims or all of the families who are facing any sort of discrepancy or any sort of lack of...
We have Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir on the phone line. Nalini, requesting... Yes, Deputy Chief Minister Kavinder Gupta joining us on phone line. Thank you very much, sir, for talking to Republic TV. Your first thoughts on this massive breakthrough in the case, the observations that the court has made. हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए शुक्रिया गुप्ता जी. ये बताइए आप इन ऑब्जर्वेशंस को किस तरह से देखते हैं? कठुआ रेप केस ट्रांसफर हो चुका है, अब पठानकोट में इसकी आगे की कार्रवाई होगी. क्या कहना है आपका इस पे?
मुझे लगता है कि हमें अपनी न्याय व्यवस्था पर विश्वास करना चाहिए. अब इफ एंड बट्स जो हैं वो सभी खत्म हो गए हैं. जो भी वर्डिक्ट कोर्ट का सामने आएगा वो हमारे लिए मान्य होगा.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये कहा है गुप्ता जी कि एक स्पीडी ट्रायल की आवश्यकता है. एक तरीके का डायरेक्टिव आया है उच्च कोर्ट से कि इसमें अब कोई देरी नहीं होनी चाहिए, स्पीडी ट्रायल. एज अ डेप्यूटी चीफ मिनिस्टर आप क्या कहेंगे इस पे?
अच्छी बात है, उसका हम स्वागत करते हैं. हमें लगता है कि उस बच्ची को न्याय मिलेगा और दोषियों को सजा मिलेगी.
कविंदर गुप्ता जी, लेकिन जिस तरीके से इस केस में इनिशियली इन्वेस्टिगेशंस इतने बॉचअप हुए, सबने देखा, और फाइनली क्या आपको लगता है कि किसी भी तरीका का कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं होगा इन्वेस्टिगेशंस जहां तक है? तो
बिल्कुल सही बात है। ये जो चीजें पठानकोट केस शिफ्ट करना या ये जो सारी जो चीजें आई हैं वो इसीलिए वो शिफ्ट हुआ है कि कुछ ना कुछ उसमें डिस्क्रिपेंसीज रही होंगी, लेकिन मुझे लगता है अब सब ठीक होगा।